Welcome to the Skin Deep Show here on SiriusXM Radio, channel 141 HUR Voices. I'm your host, Sharrarne Morton, and thank you for tuning in. Today, I have a super special show because I'm doing something a little bit differently. I'm having the Women Elevating Women Strategic Synergy Roundtable with founder and CEO of Women Elevating Women, also known as W.E.W, Miss Betty Hines. And we're joined by the brilliant and bold minds of some phenomenal women who are making waves in the world of business and beyond. They are Tiana Ligon, COO and CFO of Women Elevating Women. Come on, Tiana. And founder and CEO of Swerve Financial Group. We have Sandy Arnett, president of Arnett Media Strategies. We have Dr. Jeanette Linder, founder of Functional and Integrative Medicine. And we have Christina Sicard, Vice President of Business Strategy at JP Morgan Chase. Welcome, ladies. So glad to see you. We are diving deep into the power of strategic synergy, entrepreneurship, and an extraordinary ecosystem dedicated to uplifting women. And by the way, all of us are members of this amazing organization, Women Elevating Women. These women have built businesses from the ground up, and we'll be talking about how strategic partnerships and memberships in organizations like W.E.W have taken their businesses to the next level, right, ladies?
Yes. Yes.
They know that collaboration rather than competition is the key to success, to sustaining success, right? And we'll also be spotlighting the upcoming Women Elevating Women 2020 Forward Conference happening in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, from September 11th to the 13th. This conference is more than just an event, it's a movement, a gathering of powerful women coming together to support one another, elevating their communities and creating a lasting impact. Go to WEW, W-E-W-C-R-E-W.com to learn more about this amazing conference. So please stay. Betty. Yes, we love you so much. Tell us, what made you decide to start Women Elevating Women? Because we're just excited to be members, and you are the brainchild behind this amazing organization.
Well, thank you, Sharrarne. I love to tell the story about our journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I started Women Elevating Women, or W.E.W, because I realized there are about women in this country, about 8 to 10% of us that were
Up to W.E.W to get to those numbers and then hopefully graduate. And you've been, I want to say you've been a beacon of light for many of us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate everything. I do want you to tell our audience the importance of partnerships, because you really can't do a lot without partnering, and you, of all people, know that. So tell us why being a partner or having partners is so strategic in being successful in business.
Sure, absolutely. You've heard me say this before, is that you don't have to go it alone.
Mm-hmm.
We need to work more collaboratively because there's enough out there for all of us.
Yeah.
And there is an African phrase that I'll paraphrase, where they talk about, you can go far alone, but you can go further together. And so we need to ingrain that into our membership, and we do that, and we show them, we demonstrate that as a partnership, you can get further ahead. It's best to have 1% of something than to have zero.
Nothing.
Right. So we believe in the partnership, and we have learned that by having these sort of partnerships, and thank you for being a partner, because we're very selective. We don't take everybody.
Right, I know.
But we select partners that we feel have the same alignment. And the entire purpose is how can we work together? How do we make introductions for each other? You've made them for me, and I've hopefully made them for you.
Yes, definitely.
That is how we scale.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you hear me say it all the time, there's enough out there for all of us.
Yeah, I have to say too that just meeting Betty just in the past year and a half, thank you to Kamaria Richmond, who's in the audience, for introducing me, but just meeting you and becoming a part of W.E.W has really helped me to scale my business. And part of scaling my business was meeting so many people. Now, I also have to thank Christina here, because Christina is the one that invited me to the W.E.W, what was it, the conference? Yeah, was it last year or the year before last?
W.E.W has a partnership with JP Morgan
We sure
Chase,
do.
and so we sponsored their conference at our corporate headquarters, and so we had the opportunity to host everyone. And I said, Sharrarne, you have to come down and enjoy the festivities.
Yes, and I did, and met Betty and Camille, and it's been on and popping since then. So I do want to talk to you all about, why is it that people feel like there isn't enough, that they have to compete? They don't understand that collaboration is going to take you far. What do you think it is, especially with women?
Yeah, I think when we have this huge vision and these missions and big dreams and goals, and you can't conquer it all alone. And so, linking with people or sisters or members that have that same mindset, that attached to your vision or your mission, that's the only way you're going to be able to execute it. Our dreams are we're looking to change the world, right? We're looking to make an impact, and the only way that you can make an impact is if you come together. And so with WU, we try to really facilitate that and teach our members that you can't do it alone.
Right.
There is no way you can tackle the world alone, and so the only way that it does work is through collaborations and strategic at that.
Strategic, very
Yes.
strategic, and it's one woman at a time, right? And we're all coming together for the 2024 Word WU Conference in Philadelphia. I'm so excited. I'm going to be the MC for the awards program, I
Yes, you are.
believe, and I just want to know, how excited are you all about it, and how excited do you think the attendees are going to be, because they're going to get so much when they go to the conference? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
I'm excited. I will jump in. I am definitely excited. I've gone to previous conferences, and I can speak firsthand just to say, you walk away with something. You learn a lot. There's a lot of good information, but then you meet a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And to be in the room with women who have such successful businesses, they don't mind sharing information. It's
Right.
not like they're just, I have mine, you have to go and get yours. They share, they don't mind, talking about some of the challenges they've had, just things so that you can, know what obstacles to avoid, and just making those those connections,
Yeah.
so that you can also collaborate on business. And my business is fairly new. I'm like 2 years old, so full time, 2 years old. But the opportunity to be able to become more active in WU, and then to collaborate with a lot of the women. I know I've collaborated
Yes.
with you.
Yes, you have.
And with Tiana as well. And so it's just been wonderful. And I just, I think you'll just learn a lot. And we have some fabulous speakers. We have some entertainment that's going to be.
Yeah, we got some good stuff
so
coming.
I think it's a lot. People should definitely go online and register.
Yeah, and Sandy, in terms of collaboration, I mean, you are in media and you're a young company, but you've done a lot. I mean, you've gotten me on Fox 45, and then I got Dr. Marcia from BDS on Fox 45, and then she got somebody else on Fox 45. So that's how it works, right?
Right.
We are all supposed to be
Absolutely.
helping, right,
Yes,
Christina?
right.
And Christina has been helping Black Door Society from the beginning, even before you were a member, and now you're a member of WU. So, Christina, what has your experience been?
Oh my goodness. So as a business consultant and working with businesses and just trying to coach and provide resources and help entrepreneurs get to the next level, you don't understand how much BDS and WU has been a foundation for me, because it's given me the courage to start my own company and to start taking that journey and that path into entrepreneurship for myself and showing up for me. And so this group has just been outstanding in terms of giving me that extra faith and seeing other women doing it, and now being able to take the steps forward.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think everyone will get those types of feelings when they go to the conference and walk away feeling empowered, especially because entrepreneurs are alone a lot of the time.
Yes.
And they feel like, okay, they don't know what tomorrow may hold. And so walking away from this ecosystem with folks that can help you, resources, and just the sisterhood, I think is just so necessary.
Yeah, I think on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about sisterhood too, because it's
Yeah.
not always about just business, right,
No,
Dr.
right,
Jeanette?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to say, I've been to probably hundreds of medical conferences, and they're great, and I have friends there, but you're pretty much there just to learn, and then you go do your own thing. So when Betty asked me to be on a panel about courage and health, I thought, great, I have a couple of hours to be on the panel, and I will study the entire time that I'm there. And then I looked at the agenda, and I met people the first night, and I didn't study a lot. I had such a great time.
It was so much fun.
People were so nice, and they were genuine connections because, well, Betty sets the tone, and everybody is basically fitting that incredible sense of collaboration and kindness. And so, I'm cracking jokes with Sandy, and at the same time, I'm getting great advice because I'm not new to medicine, but I'm new to this entrepreneurship thing. And I'm like, I'm used to being the expert, and now I'm not. So,
Right.
now I'm gonna learn this. So I just can't say enough about it. So I do not plan to study this year.
Right. What are we going to do? We're going to go to the conference, and we're going to soak up all the information. We're going to make more connections, and then we're going to party, right?
Exactly.
Sharrarne, we know you like to
So Betty, I want you to talk about the five, is it 5 or 6 pillars?
Five
Pillars
pillars.
of Women Elevating Women.
Yes.
And how that's going to play out at the conference. Because you're
Thank
you're giving awards according
Yes,
to
we
those
are.
pillars,
Yes,
right?
we are.
Yes.
So we have 5 pillars of success, and I think you need to know a little backstory as to why the 5 pillars. Selected the 5 pillars based off my experience in corporate America as a C-suite executive and as an entrepreneur, and now as a consulting and launching W.E.W. I saw that successful entrepreneurs and successful women executives, they had distinct characteristics that deemed them successful. And these pillars, I'll talk the first one being collaborate. We've been talking about collaborate. You will find that these women they know how to collaborate. Now, we're learning as women how to do it better, but it's not something that it's that scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
So we're getting better at learning how to collaborate with each other. And then the other one is connect, and that's the branding piece of it. You are an expert on that in terms of how to brand yourself. It's the business as well as the personal brand.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to learn how to connect with each other, the connections. And the other thing I talk about in connections, not just your personal brand, which is more the communicate pillar, but the connection is about those strategic introductions.
Yeah.
I say all the time, you might know somebody that you might want to know. Why don't we make those introductions for each other? Because once you do that introduction, like if I make an introduction to you on my behalf, you, in some regards, have been vetted.
Yes.
You've been vetted.
Yeah, because you're
and
not going to introduce me to somebody unless
Exactly.
you, right.
not
And we talk about that all the time. You have to be careful who you introduce people to because it's a reflection on you,
It
right?
is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
And so that's all we know. You can have all the certifications, and they're definitely with all the alphabets behind them, but it's those strategic connections that are so important that will help you scale. And then, I talked a little bit about the communicate pillar of the branding, which you're an expert on. That's the personal and the business brand. And I tell people that on the personal connection and the business brand, invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Don't like what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Don't take the selfie and put it on social media. Because you might not like social media, but you need to know about social media. You need to know about the LinkedIn and the other social medias. You need to know about the artificial or
Intelligence,
Gen
AI and all
You need
that.
to know that
Yeah.
because it's here to stay.
Yeah.
So that is part of the learnings. And I'm going to let Tiana jump in here and talk
Yeah.
about the courage and the cultivate pillar because
Yeah.
she works very closely with that.
Yeah, so with the courage pillar, and you talked about it a lot, just having that courage to step out there and that on your own. And, we build up our members to really have that courage with taking on executives and entrepreneurs as well. And so having the courage not just to step outside of yourself into entrepreneurship, but also having the courage to take care of your mental health, right? During that season, to take care of your financial wealth as well during that season, and to be able to really come face to face to telling the story behind your numbers when it relates to business. So that's really our courage pillar, and we really build our members up to have that courage to step out there on that own and take ownership of that, and also to bridge back into our cultivate pillar, right? So what are those lessons that you learned? How can we bridge the gap with the next generation? Myself, right? And who has done that? So the courage to step out and to cultivate that next generation of young leaders as well.
Yeah, and I want to talk about courage because it takes so much courage to be an entrepreneur.
Yes, it does.
I mean, there's been
Yes,
many
it
a
does.
time where I was like, it's over. It's a wrap. I can't do it anymore. I'm done, Gary. You're going to have to get another job. But anyway, we're going to talk about that some more after the break. And I want you all to stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages here on SiriusXM Radio, Channel 141, HUR Voices. And we're back here with our fearless leader from Women Elevating Women, Betty Hines, and some of the WU members, including me, and my good friend Christina, and my good friend, everybody's a good friend. What am I talking about? Right? Tiana, Sandy, Dr. Lynette, and of course I said Betty. So I was saying before the break, Betty, that it takes a lot of courage. You were talking about the courage pillar. It takes a lot of courage to be an entrepreneur. I think people see the glamorous part of it, and they're looking in from the outside, and they're like, okay, well, you're really doing it. Let me just take a stab at it as well. And they don't understand what goes into it. And one of the main things that go into being a successful business owner is to cultivate relationships.
Yes.
And really, you do have to have the personality to get out there and do that. It takes a lot to go out and network and meet people, and people are going to check you out too. They're going to look to see if you're even worth their time. So what I love about WU, like you were saying earlier, Dr. Jeanette, is when you go to the WU conference, or the Black Door Society events, you meet people that are not afraid to share information and help you, right? We all need help. And what I love about WU especially is that we take each other's hands and we say, I'm going to help you, and then that makes me want to help the next person.
Right.
That's what I really love about that. And I know all of us have pretty much been in business for a little bit of time, but I consider myself a mentor to many, but I also feel like I'm never too old to be mentored. So what do you all think about that? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's okay to have 2 or 3 mentors, and I could be 80 and still I want a mentor. It's never too old. You're never too old to learn.
Give and receive.
Thank you. That part. Yeah. And so, Betty, what is it about you that you think where you, I think, attract women? When I first met you, you were just open and helpful and not afraid to lend me all of the people that you knew. You welcomed me with open arms, and I don't get that often. I think a lot of women don't. What is it that made you do that? Not just with me, but everybody.
Because it's my purpose.
Yeah.
It's my passion, and people can feel that in me. And what I feel about WU is that it is important for me, is that what I do, that it has to be not only significant, but it has to be impactful. And so what we try to do and what we instill in all our members is like, give back. You know about the fist. You keep your closed fist, nothing can get in. Nothing can get in. So we do it with open hands and with open hearts. So we do our programming, not just to be doing programs to have access to capital, the traditional things that people are looking for. We want them to have access to people. We want them to have access to how do you scale? Because women start a lot of businesses.
Yeah,
There's 14 million women businesses in this country. We start more businesses, women do, than men. And so what we need to do is to reach back and support our sisters, give them the guidance so they don't step on the same landmines. And that is why I do it. I wish I had a me. When I was
when you were starting out, right?
When I was starting out.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, and there was something that one of the members used to tell me. She says, you know what I love about you? She says, you're not going to be that auntie who takes that favorite sweet potato pie recipe to your grave.
Yes.
And no, I'm not, because
Right.
once you take it to your grave, then the legacy ends.
That's right.
So if you don't share it with others, you can't continue to perpetuate that legacy and success.
I want to kind of switch over to you, Christina, because you're the vice president of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, and it's, I think we need to give her an applause for that. Because she's so young, and Christina, you really go around and you share information, and that's what I was talking about. What I love about the women here is that you share information. You've come to a couple of our events and have shared information, especially when it comes to access to capital. So talk a little bit about women having access to capital, getting access to capital, and why is that so important that you share that with all of us?
I think to Betty's point, women start the most amount of businesses, and a lot of times they're bootstrapping it, and they're just trying to figure their way. And when you look at the opportunities when women do have access to capital, let's say VC capital, they're usually about 64% more successful than men in business when they actually have the funding and the backing behind them. Whereas when they don't have the funding and the backing, it's very scarce to see them even hit the six-figure digit mark in terms of revenue and being able to support themselves and their families. And so it's really important to share and for me to bring resources. And I think it's just within me and my spirit and something my father instilled, helping other people and wanting to see folks win and celebrate them and help them get to the top. And with that, I find my own happiness and light, and I'm able to pull things from my clients as well and use it to help better my life and moving forward. And so I always want to share and help and get rid of this more conflicting and this scarcity mindset where people don't want to share or they're worried about their idea being stolen, or because you get further together than alone. And so it's just been the best part of my career to date, and it's really helped me to grow by helping others grow. So
Yeah, that definitely, I think we can all say that, right? And I wanted to pivot a little bit, like Dr. Linder, or I call you Dr. Jeanette, your background is medicine. And like you said, you just started out not too long ago as an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
So you went from medicine to entrepreneurship. How did you do that? What made you switch? And how are you feeling about it now? I bet he's over here laughing.
Because I was a failure at retirement.
Okay.
I love medicine. I've been in oncology for over 30 years, and I love it, and I consider it crisis intervention. There's a problem, we're working on the problem, and the entire time I've tried to be integrative. I've brought in multiple other types of practitioners. I talked about lifestyle. I even gave away books on, health, and every so often someone would come in and they would weigh less and they would look fantastic and they'd be off their blood pressure medicines and I'd say, "What'd you do?" And she said, "Well, I did what you told me to do." Well, when I regained consciousness, I was like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing." But most people, when they're in crisis, they don't have the energy, the bandwidth, the family support to add another project to what they do. So I still do some oncology, radiation oncology, because I love it, and I have not given up on conventional medicine, but I consider functional and integrative medicine escorting people to wellness. It's a very
I
different
like that.
thing.
Escorting people to wellness.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that. I like that.
So
And then escort me afterwards.
I would love to, and it's so fun, even though it can be really hard, because we're surrounded by things that don't encourage wellness.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that? You have to meet people where they are. And I've learned through my patients over the last few years that sometimes it's drinking from a fire hose, and I need to be a bit more cognizant of different learning styles and different abilities to handle things. But everybody has the ability to kick it up a notch. And habit stacking doesn't happen in a week.
Yeah.
We didn't learn to walk in a week, right? We learned to walk in a couple of years really well. And so helping people do that, they still need their conventional medicine, but they need it way less, and they're happier, and they move better, and they can play with their kids and their grandkids, and they can go on vacations and not worry about having to retire because they're unhealthy. They retire when they want to, and then they open a new business.
Like you.
Exactly.
Well, I'm so glad that you've done that. And I think that it took a lot of courage for you to do that. And do you ever feel like giving up?
I have had a few conversations going up the steps of like, that's it.
Right.
I can't do that. And then I think, but I love my patients so much. What are they going to do without me? They'll be fine. Just
It's like the angel and the devil. Like, I think all of us have had those conversations with ourselves. Like, raise your hand if you thought, okay, I'm giving it up. It's enough. I can't take it. Even the audience out there. It's like, I can't do it. But we continue on because I always say it's in my heart, and when you love something, it's hard to give it up,
It's your passion.
It's your passion, thank you, Sandy. Like media is your passion,
Yes,
Sandy, and you're very good at it. Both of us are so good at it, and I'm so glad through Betty I met you.
I know, same here.
And we've worked well
Wonderful.
together,
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the last part of the segment of the show. I want to talk a little bit more about the conference because we want you to come, and we don't want you to miss this terrific conference that will be happening when, Betty or Tiana? Give us the deets.
September 11th through the 13th in Philadelphia, PA at the National Weissman Jewish Museum. And we're so excited to have all of you here in the audience, over here and out there viewing as well.
Yeah.
And it's my hometown.
Yes. And we're going to open up on the 11th with...
We start with the Entrepreneur Woman of Impact Awards, which Sharrarne, drumroll, she will be the MC.
Yes.
She was the MC last year, and we select 24 women, all from North America, and we went through about 145 applications. We select 8 women with revenues from $500,000 to $1 million, 8 women with revenues $1 million to 10, and then 8 women 10 million and above. We do this conference in partnership with W.E.W, generously sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase. And so that's really the kickoff for they made an announcement a couple of years ago that they're going to partner with us. Wherever we have our conference, we're going to kick off the Entrepreneur Woman of Impact. And Sharrarne has been very gracious in being the MC for that event. So
yes, it's so much
incredible
fun.
women.
Yes, it's incredible women. It's so much fun. And I was there, was it the year before or last year when J.P. Morgan and WE, you all decided to, go ahead and support WE and sponsor the award ceremony, so I'm excited. I'm super excited about being there. I'm even bringing my mom.
Oh,
yes, I'm bringing my mother to the conference. Yes,
Wonderful.
and I think 9 or 10 Black Door Society
Yes.
members, so
Yeah,
we're
we
super
bring a
excited
lot.
about that. Yes, yes. So I just want to thank you all for being on the show. I just am super excited. We're going to have to do this every year right before the conference.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us, Sharrarne.
Yes,
so much.
yeah, this has
Thank
been
you.
great. People need to know, I think getting the information out there is what we do, right?
Yes.
And people need to know, women especially need to know that there are organizations out there that will help them, that will take their hand and say, I'm here for you.
Yes.
We're all about sisterhood, right?
Sisterhood.
And that's so important. I don't have any sisters, but right now I have a room full. So,
Yes.
yes.
All of us.
Yes.
And we are grateful.
And I am too. I am too. Ladies, thank you again for being a part of this amazing Women Elevating Women Strategic Synergy Roundtable with founder and CEO of Women Elevating Women, Miss Betty Hines, and WU COO and CFO Tiana Lagan, WU members Sandy Arnett, Dr. Jeanette Linder, Christina Sicard, and me, Sharrarne Morton of SiriusXM Radio. To join all of us at the super exciting WU Conference, come on September 11th through the 13th. Please reach out to WUcrew.com, that's WEWCREW.com, and be there or be square. That's it. Bye.